Scott Clark.
And we're coming to you from the coffee shop. Oh, that's awesome that I always screw that up. We're coming to you from the coffee shop. It's June 16th, and today we're recording at All City Coffee. It's in the Georgetown neighborhood of Seattle. And I gotta say, it's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah, it's the former industrial site of Seattle. It's kind of it's becoming more trendy and hipster now. It's just I remember coming down here with my grandfather when I was a kid, and he used to work down there. My uncles all work down here. Now it's not so much, and yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it.
It is cool, yeah, because the way I got in was driving down this weird alley with a whole bunch of warehouses, and then you turn a corner and it's all these cute restaurants with historic exteriors,
right.
And it's a really cool part of town.
Right.
A couple years ago, my best friend Rachel, she got married down here at the Georgetown Ballroom, which is like a theater they rented out. And it was, completely awesome.
Really?
Really, really cool. That was the first thing I ever went to in this neighborhood.
Yeah, because you drive through here and you're thinking, I need a tetanus shot.
Right.
Because if you might bump into something. But then it opens up and it's like this little nice little burrow.
Totally.
It's nice.
It is nice. And this coffee shop, good coffee, cool art. It seems to be really bouncing at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday.
Right.
So, I'd like to thank everybody who listened to our first couple of episodes. They'll be available. This will probably be our first posting on iTunes, but then we'll also post our first two recordings, which are like an interview with Scott and an interview with myself to kind of give you guys some background to get to know us.
Right.
So that we're not just weird, strange people that you're listening to. Yeah, so you probably found this episode on iTunes, and that's where you'll be able to find all of our episodes. And we're going to plan on posting every Tuesday, right?
Right, every Tuesday. I also will be posting them on SoundCloud as well.
Cool.
Also, so people who don't subscribe to iTunes can also still find us
on
well.
SoundCloud. I think that's probably smart because it seems like from people I've been talking to, they're either a SoundCloud person or an iTunes person.
Right.
Which probably depends on whether they're Google or whether they're Android or iPhone, right?
Right.
Even though I have both, and so I listen to stuff on both. But
you will also we'll post links to both on the Facebook page and whatnot.
Totally.
Also.
Yep. And speaking of that, you can find us on Facebook. It's from the coffee shop. If you throw that into the search, it pops right up.
Right.
And you can find us on Twitter at Coffee Shop Podcast on Twitter.
Okay.
And all that good stuff. So please, if you like the show, give us a 5-star review on iTunes and like us on Facebook.
That would be awesome.
It would be.
I'm so nervous about it, actually, because I want to let it go and just be as it is. But then I'm like a nervous. Somebody who's over attentive. I want to keep like a gardener over gardening.
Yeah, totally.
I want it to grow it so fast, but I also just want to let it go. Let it.
Yeah, you're like George in Mice and Men, where you're like, I love this mouse so much.
I will love it and pet it and stroke it and love it, and I will call him George. Yeah.
Or was that Lenny?
Lenny of Mice and Men.
I was like, wait, why would he call it George if his name's George?
Well, his best friend was George. Lenny
That's
was,
right. Gary Sinise was George.
Yeah. Well,
I did actually read that book.
I grew up with the Looney Tunes version.
Oh, totally.
And
yep.
I like a bunny rabbit, and I will call him George.
I was just over Memorial Day out at Whidbey with my sister's family, and she has a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And I made a joke about Goofy and the octopus. Do you remember those cartoons where Goofy would be at the beach and the octopus would be on his face?
Right.
And they just looked at me like I was an alien, and none of them had ever seen a Goofy cartoon. And I was like, why? It immediately made them watch the Goofy and the octopus cartoon. They loved it.
Yeah, right. And I miss those days, actually. I was just talking with my son about it. Well, it was a few weeks ago, how it was Saturday morning was an event.
Yeah.
Also, you wake up and you have your whole day planned, and you wake up at 6 a.m., bug your parents, eat breakfast, and watch cartoons until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then go out and play.
For sure. I did that well into adulthood.
Yeah, and then they got the Cartoon Channel and YouTube, and it's like, It's like meh.
Yeah.
Cartoons.
Well,
meh.
it's sort of the like. I mean, I'm a very like cultural evolution person that I don't necessarily think that like when old things go away, it's the end of the world. Like I think that people recreate it in a different way, but that's something that our generation, like we had it big time because, you know, when I was a little kid, you had to wait 6 months before movies came out on video.
Right.
And then if
or a year.
you could get them, you had to like go and wait at the store because if it was popular, it was checked out.
It had to be put on a waiting list.
Totally. So we had tons of entertainment related withholding of gratification and so naturally the people inventing things were our age in technology, right? And so they were like, you know what sucks? Waiting for movies to come out. And so they've shortened all of that time where now sometimes you can even get movies in the theater on demand. Which I think is great, but then it takes away that like frustrating part of childhood where you're like, I want to see this so bad, or like when you're watching the TV show and it goes to commercial and you were like, how fast can I pee and get back so that I don't miss a second of this?
Oh, it's pee. Grab a sandwich and get a root beer. Exactly. You know, that's all in a minute and a half.
Yeah, because you're not sure if it'll come back on, and once it's been on TV, you are like rolling the dice that you will ever see it again.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. Just like I know exactly what you're talking about. There's no build up now.
Yeah.
There's no dramatic build up, and there's no. It's not an event so much anymore. No,
not at all. And they're trying to recreate it with like in different ways, but I just don't think. I mean, there's no real substitute with the actual, like, you cannot get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't really recreate it with, you know, like, they'll have, like, event screenings and I think even, like, the Comic-Cons of the world are, in a way, sort of trying to recreate that, like, building up excitement of something that you want to see but you can't have yet. Right. But I just don't think you can really replace that. So,
no, unless you're a real, you know, it's a dying art, or not, or just a dying
experience.
lifestyle.
Yeah. And I wonder what it'll be replaced with. Because, like, my nephew, he's 22.
Right.
He will be watching a TV show and Googling what happens down the road in the TV show. Because
like spoilers?
Oh, he cannot tolerate not knowing what happens.
Really?
And so he will spoil things for himself and then continue to watch it.
That bums me out, actually.
Me too.
I would be like, because if anybody, like, if I'm watching it like on Netflix right now, and I'm telling somebody I'm watching a current season of such and such, and then they go, "Oh, you wait till this happens." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Now I don't need to watch it. Thank you so much."
My mom does that to me, like, pathologically. Like, I'll say to her, "Do not say another word about this," and then she'll like wait 2 seconds and then say like, "Oh, but are you to this part yet?" And I'm like, no, and now you told me what that part was. And
right.
I have been known to like scream and run out of the room.
Oh, to ask you about certain characters died or yet or anything. Oh, they're dying? Oh, thanks.
Thanks. Didn't know that yet. Yeah, I've been watching Doctor Who. And trying. Do you like Doctor Who? Nice. I held out for a super long time because I'd watched a couple of episodes and wasn't that into it, but I knew it's a genre I like and people that I trust like it, so someday I'll be in the mood. And then now I'm like 4 seasons into it, and Are you watching from the original season? No. I'm watching from Rose, so the new, not the reboot. The one they were showing on Sci-Fi Channel back here. BBC America pretty much is showing it now, but it was on Sci-Fi for a while back. Nice. It's all on Netflix, even the original series, which I've heard just skip until after you're a super fan, and then go back and watch it, because like if you start with the original, it's hard to watch because it's so old. Old and it's the you can even the new rendition of the series, the special effects is like they're super hokey. Really, I kind of like that though. It gives it this campiness, and actually I think that it's like 45% not good. Like I'll be sewing or doing something while I'm watching it, and it doesn't really matter what's going on because a lot of it is just like, oh, I have to fight X alien for Y reason.
Right.
And, like, it doesn't really matter what's going on, but then there's, like, 5 episodes each season that are, like, the greatest hours of television of all time.
Yeah, cliffhangers, too, at
Totally,
that.
really good ones. And so, but I have had to fight the urge to, like, because something will happen and I'll be like, oh, why did that happen? Maybe I missed something, and I'll, like, think about Googling it, and I'm like, no, I can't ruin this.
Right.
Like, it will tell me something that will make me wish that I didn't Google it.
Right.
So.
So you just wait for the next season. Like right now, I'm watching, I'm on Netflix watching Tron.
Which Tron?
It's Tron. It's an animated series.
Oh, I didn't know they
it's
did
called
an animated
Uprising.
series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
Pretty good. I like it.
I was one of the few people who didn't hate Tron Legacy. Even I actually thought it was kind of
dug
cool.
it. I dug it.
I was like, this is fine. Like, there's people were like violently angry toward it, and I thought it was a totally like, who cares, but like a decent movie. You know?
I liked it. The Uprising is supposed to be. It's kind of like when it fills in with the ISOs, the ISO wars and stuff like that. It's kind of like after the fact.
It's kind of like the one they did for Star Wars, right? The Clone Wars series.
Right.
That, like, if you're really into it, then it's loosely related, but it's not important to understand. Even though I saw the original Tron no less than 12 times and still cannot tell you what happens in it. Like, the Jeff Daniels. Is it Jeff Daniels? No, it's not. Jeff Bridges.
It's Jeff Bridges.
I always get those two names mixed up, even though I know which one is which. I don't know why. Anyway, but the old version, when I was a kid, I saw it, and then we would watch it like every few years because we're just a sci-fi family.
Right.
And I honestly am like, well, they like zoom around and they throw some discs, and like I have no idea. I couldn't tell you the plot if my life depended on it.
I liked it. Yeah, I'm like you. I was a sci-fi, and I just liked it because it's cutting edge of the time. It was never done before. Computer animation in the 80s. Man.
When that movie came out, my brothers were like, my life has just been fundamentally altered.
And that's what goes back to what we were talking about earlier, too. It's like, people just, it isn't like that anymore, where it's like a movie comes out like Star Wars, Tron, Star Trek, Superman, all those sci-fi and comic book ones.
Well, okay, so what's your movie that's like that? Because I totally know mine. Mine's Jurrasic Park. It came out when I was in the 8th grade, and it was in the summertime, and I went with my older brother's best friend's little sister, who wasn't really my friend, but I was hanging out with her. She was super cool, but, like, I just was like, I'll go to the movies with her because I'm being nice. And I sat there and was like, my life has just changed fundamentally.
Right.
And because I'd always been a movie person, like, ever since I was very, 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 very young. Really into movies, like, conspicuously. But that was the moment where I was like, I have to go out and watch every movie ever made. And now, every movie from now on is going to be better than every movie that's come before it. Like, just like the amazingness of Jurassic Park. Like,
right.
I feel like it was like God touching my brain. And like this light opened up, and I'm like, oh my God, the world is going to be so awesome.
That would have been actually probably pretty cool. I'd see you sitting there in the chair in the theater and see this beam of light come down.
And then, like, from then on through high school, I saw every single movie that came out in the theater, and like some of them were like way upsetting, but I was like, I am a movie person now. I have to see it, and I just pushed through it, and now I'm the messed up adult I am today.
I would have to say it's a toss-up with me. If I had to go back and choose a movie, it's between two. Actually, three. It would be Alien.
Oh, Alien.
Alien.
That was a really great movie.
Yeah, because it was done with special effects at the time, but it was done in such a way, it was like a boogeyman movie.
Oh, for sure. It holds up, because I actually made my nephew watch it, because I took him to see Prometheus, which, again, we loved. Everyone else hated and was outraged by.
You raped my childhood.
I thought it was like the greatest movie of the last 2 years, personally.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's really upsetting, but has a lot of that, like, slow, upsetting, like...
The burn, right?
Yeah, the
slow burn.
Totally.
I love that.
Oh
I love the slow burn.
But I made my nephew watch Alien, and he loved it. Like, it totally holds up.
Really?
If you watch it as a new movie, The pacing is great. Like, the suspense is genius. Like, it is, in my opinion, no way, like, changed by time. You know?
Really? So it really holds up. I have to
I
watch
think it's
it.
still scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because you don't really see the alien. That's another thing. You see flashes or stuff like that. And I like Alien, and then the sequel Aliens. I like that one, and so it's probably the era is what changed me. The Aliens and Terminator.
Oh, just Terminator 1?
Yeah, Terminator, first one with
See, that had boobies and such in it, and I think, or some sex scenes or something, it was...
I don't remember.
I couldn't see it until after Terminator 2 came out, because I wasn't old enough to. And then once I could watch it, I was like, oh, this movie's so great! Like... But I had seen Terminator 2 before Terminator 1.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Terminator 2 was a PG-13 and Terminator 1 was an R.
Was rated R. Well,
yeah.
It was pretty violent, too. I think it could have stood on its own as an R movie on its just by violence alone.
But plus it came from an era before PG-13s, and so the standards were a lot different.
You had PG and then jumped straight to R.
Right, but my family was like... they had all these rules about like R means bad, even though it's
arbitrary.
I defy rating systems because I consider film to be art, and I'm offended by the concept of censoring art in any way, including putting a rating on it.
It's it's an American standard. There's I don't know when we were in Thailand, I don't remember seeing an R movie because there wasn't one.
Right.
There's no R movies, no G movies.
It's just movies.
Yeah,
right?
It's just a movie. Yeah.
And I saw tons of movies and things when I was a little kid. I don't think it disturbed me. I grew up to be a social worker. It didn't make me violent, and I was like, I watched every violent movie. So I personalized that to mean that it's fine for everybody.
I think, if you're going to go back, and I think the more disturbing movie I saw that at that time era was Cujo. And that was...
Cujo was...
It was freaking... And they didn't really show anything. It just scared me.
It scared me, too.
But it was rated... I think it got rated R.
I think it was a TV movie, wasn't it?
No. It was...
Oh, I'm thinking of something else that was like a...
We saw it.
Oh, I'm thinking of White Dog with Christy McNichol. That movie scared me. Oh, my gosh. Because it was a dog they trained to like bite slaves, and then like it was like a racist dog movie. It was really stupid, but to me it was terrifying.
The dog was white. It was just a white person's dog.
Well, the dog ironically was white, and also white dog, meaning like it didn't like non-white people, which was terrifying to me. I was like, oh, why would you do that? And then it was like dogs. But Cujo was the demon dog Stephen King thing, right?
Yeah. He got rabies.
Oh, is that the reason?
It went nuts and attacked everybody.
That's a totally real scenario.
And totally ruined the image of St. Bernards.
Yeah, those are like sweet dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we watched Cujo at one, like in college at a Halloween party, and like laughed our way through it. But that's also the first time I saw the Halloween movies, which I think are ridiculous nonsense. Like unfun or unscary in every way.
Oh, they're slasher movie.
Yeah. Like
they got jump scares.
Nonsense.
They have jump scares in them.
Oh yeah.
But that's
pretty much it.
The guy doesn't run. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, how does he catch you?
He's jumping out from behind things.
You're running your ass off, and he's just walking down the street nonchalantly, and he catches them every time.
Totally. So you saw Man of Steel this week, is that right?
Yep. We saw it yesterday,
Very cool.
actually. I recommend it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It is a slow burn, and that's the kind of movie I like. And there's a lot of good flashbacks in it, and that's how they tell the story. It's really... I was comparing it to the 1978 Christopher Reeves version, and that 78 version does not hold up. I think it was 78 or 79.
Yeah, something like that.
I was a young kid when it came out, and it was the best movie of its time too.
For sure.
But this movie, this rendition of it really, I like it.
Cool.
They blend. They take. If you're going back in the timeline and take the first two Supermen. Mm-hmm. And they blend it together, and they eliminate a character.
Okay.
So there's
Don't
not a
tell
certain... No, I'm not going to tell you. But
because all I know is Henry Cavill and that they were shooting it in Chicago when I lived there, and those are the only two things I know about it. Yeah. I haven't seen a preview, and actually I watched one preview, but it was like a teaser, and I don't care. I'm already going to see it. I don't want to know anything. You notice that
they got rid of the iconic red trunk.
Yeah, I saw that on
that actually
Colbert.
works. It works.
Right on.
I like it.
I wasn't married to red underwear.
And I got people were like upset about they got rid of the red trunks. I was like,
they were kind of dumb looking.
Yeah,
so
you know why they put the red trunks on them?
So you couldn't see his wiener.
Yeah, it's unit. That's exactly it.
And now
that was from the 19...
We have space age fabrics, and we're totally okay with
yeah. So, and you'll like it. There's a lot of eye candy for women in there.
I do like hot dudes in movies.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill is, hey baby, like he is good looking dude.
He's English, isn't he? British. He pulls off the American accent really well. I'm not bumped by his accent whatsoever because a lot of times the accents. You can't get around them. You know, it's like that guy's trying too hard.
Yeah.
You know,
or it just sounds like, where's that person from?
You can't put it. There. Is he Canadian?
Maybe. No, just trying to do an American accent.
Yeah. There's no. It's not like he's trying too hard. He actually talks like he's from Kansas.
That's cool.
Not a twang. You know, just a nice, straightforward. The American no affect accent, just very flat.
Yeah, totally. Well, I can't wait to see it. I almost went to see it last night, but I stayed home and watched Oz the Great and Powerful.
I like that too, yeah.
Everybody, my 12-year-old niece told me it was like the best movie ever, and every other person I heard hated it, and I loved it. But I'm a hardcore Oz canon aficionado. Like, I've read all the books, I've read the Wicked books, I've seen the musicals, I've seen all the different versions. I love Return to Oz, which I think is like one of the most upsetting movies ever. And I never saw it. Totally dug the whole movie, and I can see why people didn't like it, because it was very weird and bizarrely kind of had some overt sexual overtones for a children's movie. I was like, wow, there's a lot of cleavage and insinuated sex that I'm like, this is really weird. But I think it was that tweener movie where it's made for a 12-year-old girl. Right. So they want to make it a little spicy, but not overtly. But Mila Kunis, there's one scene where she tears her dress off, and I thought her boobies were going to come flying out. I was like, whoa!
Right.
And,
I loved her in that movie. She's really good, and I liked her. I didn't read any of the books, but I grew up watching The Wizard of Oz as a Thanksgiving type of.
It might be my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, we'd sit down around TV. It's so most families you'd watch football on Thanksgiving. No, we watched Wizard of Oz Thanksgiving week. Totally. And then so that was our tradition, and so I grew up on that. And when I watched the movie, I was like, okay, this doesn't really bump the 1930s version at all. It actually ties it in quite nicely in how the witches came about.
Yeah, which I can't remember because I haven't read those books in a super long time, but I don't think that's the plot of the book that's Oz the Great and Powerful. I think that it might loosely be, but it's definitely not I thought the movie was more just boiled it down to kind of a love triangle, which was a little bit lame to me, but it's a kid's thing. And, which actually I said the original Oz. Did you know that the 1949 Wizard of Oz is actually a remake?
No.
Yeah, there's a movie that predates The Wizard of Oz called The Wizard of Oz that was a silent era movie.
Okay.
And they, MGM bought it and remade it. And so we think remakes are a modern convention, but they've been around since the beginning of movies. Yeah, people ripping off each other's ideas. Anyway. So I watched it. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's $3.99 on Amazon Instant Watch. Oh yeah. So to me, it was a really nice. Done and done. Yeah, and I've been having all of these the thing I like about Wizard of Oz, which is similar to the Superman myth, that there's a lot of meaning of life embedded in it.
Metaphors, yeah.
For sure, and in some ways, Oz the Great and Powerful took what I philosophically consider to be the opposite of my viewpoint. Right. Which is that it's this whole like connection between like what is attractive and what is good. And like, so you have the attractive Glinda who's also good, and the unattractive Wicked Witch who's bad, right? And so each of the different permutations of it take a different look at like whether it is true that things that are attractive and popular are also good.
Right.
And like the Wicked series takes the opposite view, which is people like this because it's attractive and popular, but if you really think about it, it's like wicked. People who are not in your best interest, people who are doing things that hurt people. And so is it really good? And then you find out the people who look bad and are doing things that appear to be evil are really the more moral side. And this movie was really about like, oh no, like you can lie and cheat and like swindle women and manipulate people and be super selfish, but really deep down inside you're really good. And for what reason? Like, he was not good for any reason.
No,
he was good looking and
right.
The woman was in love with him, but that didn't make him a good person.
Right.
And he did some things that helped people, but he basically, like,
it wasn't,
spoiler alert,
right.
created the evil by being a dick.
Right.
Like, he screwed over the witch.
He wasn't.
And then he destroyed her, but really, if he looked at what really went on, he had to take responsibility for it. Which he did in a very small way by saying, like, if you want to not be evil, you can come back. But in my opinion, it's like, well, maybe you should apologize for dicking her over. Right. And, like, be sincere about
because everything he did in that movie wasn't without an agenda. It wasn't for his own, like, he had a what do you call that when you basically you're not doing it for...
It's not self-serving.
Yeah, it wasn't selfless.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Totally.
How did you like James Franco's performance in it?
I liked it because he seemed like a total skis. And he was kind of like a dude. I think he has a hard time masking his stoner
right,
core.
That's exactly what kept coming through. I was like, I'm watching the guy playing Pineapple Express.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and this guy...
He's like, oh, man, a top hat.
Right. So I thought he was probably about the weakest of all the performance.
See, I liked that about him because I thought it gave the character depth. That I was like, this guy is a total sleazeball. Like, he is a used car salesman. Yeah. And, I kind of dug it. But I'm a James Franco fan. Like, even his shitty movies I think are cool. Like, he did this one where he played, Nicolas Cage actually directed this movie. It's possibly the worst movie ever made, where he plays a male prostitute in New Orleans. It's on Netflix right now, and I dare anyone to watch it. I wish I could think of the name. It's horrific. Like, he's not only a male prostitute, he's like the legendary best that everyone's like, he is this great male prostitute.
It almost sounds like a remake of American Gigolo.
Oh, but it's much worse. Like,
is it much worse?
Horrible. And he has a mother who's like, he wants to go off to college and get out of the family business, which is prostitution. And his mom is like this creepy, caricature of a human being, luring him back into no, just one more. Like, you're so good at it.
She was his pimp.
It's so creepy, and none of the people have any value, in my opinion. Like, you hate all of them and want bad things to happen to everybody.
Really?
And he hooks up with this female prostitute, and she's trying to get him to mentor her in prostitution. It makes no sense at all, and the acting is terrible. And it's
it sounds
horrific.
like a mess.
Oh, it's
sounds
a
like a
total mess. And if that was the only movie you ever saw James Franco in, you would think he was the worst actor on planet Earth. Yeah. But then you see something like Howl, which is one of the greatest movies. Have you ever seen Howl? He plays Ginsberg, the poet. And it's about him, Allen Ginsberg, writing Howl, his all-time greatest poem. And it's about civil rights of that era, and it has all this surreal depictions of parts of the actual poem, and it's gorgeous, a completely beautiful movie. Or I think 127 Hours is brilliant. And then even the movies he gets a lot of play for, Pineapple Express, and he's good at comedy, he's good at...
Right.
Man, you gotta watch Howl. I'm totally not kidding.
Howl?
It's on Netflix, and it's Beautiful.
I also liked him. I kind of liked him in Eat, Pray, Love. We watched Eat, Pray, Love together.
Oh, I forgot he was in that. I liked that movie too, even though it's a mom movie.
It's a total chick movie.
Yeah.
She read the book.
Oh, nice.
And we listened to the audio CD, and then we went and saw the movie. It was good. I liked it. I
liked it too. Like I rolled my eyes at it and then secretly watched it at home and thought it was great.
Most guys don't like the reason why guys don't like movies like that is because they don't like to cry in public. That's why.
Yeah. Well, and I also think the reason why guys don't like movies like that is that 9 out of 10 of them are bad movies. Yeah. But they have something sweet and everyone goes, and the guys are like, no, but this is not a good movie. Just like 9 out of 10 action movies are shit.
Yeah.
But if you watch the right chick movies and the right action movies, they're really good. Yeah. So it's like people who say they hate TV, when really TV is like, there's stuff on TV that's amazing and brilliant, and there's stuff on TV that's total shit.
Right.
It's like if the only book you ever wrote was the novelization of an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. You would go, oh, well, books are shit. But books, it's just a medium, you know?
Actually, I really dig. We were talking about the technology of the day, too, and how things have changed and evolved. I kind of like it because there's more competition out there.
Yeah.
Because when I grew up, we had, 3 networks?
Totally. And really horrible TV shows that you put up with because you had no choice.
It's like, it's all you had to eat for your whole entire life was saltine crackers. That's what you'd be used to eating, saltine crackers. And all of a sudden, somebody introduces a Ritz.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what crackers are supposed to taste like. It's good and yummy and buttery.
Yeah, that was me with, the Flintstones. Because, you're supposed to like the Flintstones because you're a kid. And Scooby-Doo. I think the Flintstones and Scooby-Doo are pure garbage. Nothing good about them at all to me. And I'm like, I've spent half my life watching the Flintstones and Scooby-Doo.
I try to go back to them, and I can't.
I think they're horrible.
I can't go back to them. I did love them when I was stoned, though. I did. They were nice.
Yeah. I think I have the opposite stoned thing where, mostly for me, because I don't really get stoned, having 3 glasses of wine, I don't nothing is good to me, watching TV or movies or something. I hate everything.
Really?
But if I'm sober, I'll like things. And so I had a friend in Chicago that we used to get totally blasted on a Tuesday night and go to the movies. And I never enjoyed any of the movies, but it was fun to be drunk at a movie theater. But all of the movies, I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that.
I don't know if I've ever done that, been drunk in a movie theater. For one, I'd have to pee, and then I'd get up, and then once you get up and pee one time, and then every 5 seconds you gotta go pee because you break the seal. So
it is an acquired skill, but once you get it down. This is my friend Ryan in Chicago. We used to go to this place called Fat Willie's, which is a barbecue house in Chicago that's near nothing except a movie theater. And they serve 40s in brown paper bags. At the barbecue place.
At Fat Willie's.
It's amazing. Such good food. And super cheap for barbecue. So we'd go to Fat Willie's, get 40s and barbecue, and then we'd go to this place next door, Owen and Injun, that's kind of a higher end bar with a restaurant, and get a couple cocktails, and then we'd walk across the street and go to the movies. On Tuesday nights, we'd get the Tuesday night movie deal.
That actually sounds really fun. If I ever go to Chicago, that's the one thing I'd probably end up doing.
Totally.
Just the 40s alone in a brown paper bag sounds really cool.
It's totally it's shitty beer, but the experience of it is fun.
Yeah.
And the food is amazing. They have this sausage and shrimp gumbo.
Yeah.
That's sick. It's so good. Yeah. It's amazing. Anyway, so was there anything else you wanted to say about Man of Steel? I kind of derailed by taking over about Wizard of Oz.
No, I like it. It's
cool. I'm gonna see it this week.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got a really I just love that kind of the pacing, the time, and it works really well with the special effects.
Cool.
There's nothing that really bumped me about the movie, other than the product placement was a little over the top.
Oh, was it?
It was very blatant.
That's just going to get worse too because
it was almost in your face.
Money. Yeah.
I mean, I think 7-Eleven's going to make a comeback because of this movie.
Nice. I was actually going to say, though, that I'm one of the few people who liked the last Superman Returns, with Kevin Spacey and that one guy and Kate Bosworth, and Parker Posey. I actually thought that movie was the bomb. And the reason was, I thought it was like a really good... it had the feel of the first movie in a really cool way, where it felt like it wasn't recorded in 2008 or whenever it came out, 2006 I think. I liked that, and I thought the guy who played Superman was totally like channeling Clark Kent, and I thought it wasn't a cool movie, but I enjoyed watching it. I think I actually bought it.
I enjoyed watching it too. The only thing that bumped me in the whole thing was one of the villains was the Harold from Harold and Kumar.
Oh yeah, totally. He's an interesting dude too, because he ended up working for the White House. Like he did.
Really?
Yeah, he did Harold and Kumar. He did the Superman movie. He became President Obama's, and he sat on his cabinet for like arts and entertainment.
He's also
as like a White House employee, and then he also did House for 3 seasons and committed suicide on House, which was like such a cool, risky thing to do on such a mainstream show.
Oh man, I love that show.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good show. I could talk about House for like 6 hours.
I probably could too. We could probably make an entire.
I know. Even though I heard Dr. Drew on a podcast say, which I always then wanted to ask some of my friends who are doctors, that House is the most annoying show to watch as a medical professional, because the things that they think are like these crazy diagnoses are actually like really common diagnoses, and like he'll be like, that's exactly what you would think it was the moment a person came to you, because it is very clearly that, but they make it seem like it's this he's a genius, but it's just I thought that was really funny though.
If you're watching a show on social workers, I guess you'd probably think the same thing. It's like,
I cannot watch things with people who are in any kind of therapy, because, this is like the subject of an entire podcast, but, there's one exception, and that is the TV show In Treatment, which I think is a brilliant show, and we actually would watch episodes in school and write papers on them, because it's actually written by people who are therapists.
Okay.
And it's really, really great acting. And you watch the therapeutic process. It's a little dramatized, but not bad.
Right.
But every single other depiction of people in therapy, they always tell you stuff that's legally untrue. You can date your therapist as long as you're not in therapy with them anymore. No, you cannot do that. You will lose your license if you date a client, even if you're not their therapist anymore. You cannot do that. That is not a real thing.
That almost seems creepy anyway.
It's super creepy, because
it's almost predatory.
Which is why you would lose your license.
Right.
It's not technically illegal, you won't go to jail, but you will lose your license over that kind of stuff.
There's morality issues there.
Oh my gosh.
People who they're in therapy because they're not all there.
Yeah. Or, your therapist will, be someone you know in your normal life, which is not okay. And things that they do in therapy, you're when I watch it, I just think, this person has never, has no training, has no idea what they're talking about, and it drives me completely crazy. I really hate it. And any show that, so really, another really great movie, actually, it's a Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was going to say it was James Franco, but it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Seth Rogen is the movie where he gets cancer. What's that movie called? 41?
Oh yeah.
Is it 41?
It's 50%.
50-50.
50-50.
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
dude,
I'm it's a number.
I bawled my eyes out in that movie.
Oh my gosh,
man.
Me too. And I think that movie would have been the perfect movie if you separate the completely incompetent grief therapist who literally does nothing that makes any sense in the entire movie and is presented as a love interest.
Isn't that supposed to be like a true movie?
Supposedly, but I think because Seth Rogen's friend got cancer and he wrote it about that. But the therapist character in it is the worst.
Right.
Like, everything she does is wrong, and if she's a doctoral student, then I'm a chicken, because she's the most incompetent therapist of all time.
Speaking of Seth Rogen, I want to go see his movie.
Me too.
End of the World.
This is the end.
This is the end. Oh man, that looks so funny.
I've heard it's really good from
got
some of my friends.
It's got really high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
I might actually go see that today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it next week. So this is what happens, just so you know, when we start a podcast talking about movies, is I will never stop talking about movies.
It's fine with me. I'm the same way. It's
all I think about all day long, other than social work. It's social work, movies, and that's pretty much my entire brain span. But I do have another segment that I thought of this week.
Okay.
So this segment is called What Could This Possibly Mean? And it is where I present to you something that someone said to me sometime this week, and then we try to figure out, like, where did this come from? And sometimes there's no answer. This time there's no answer because I don't know. I was at the film forum on Tuesday and answering the phone. Like, I picked up the phone and I started talking to this person who called the film forum, and she told me this, apropos of nothing. And I have no idea what it means. Kind of don't want to know. Like, honestly, when she said it, I was like, I don't know if I want the backstory of that. But it's been plaguing me ever since. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what she says to me. Well, he's my brother, but I call him my husband because it's too complicated to explain that he's my brother. Now, this is like an older woman. She sounds a little nutty. And she's like calling in, and she's explaining something to me, and she gives me this other person's name, and then she's like, well, I was like, okay, and she says, he's my brother, but I call him my husband because it's too complicated to explain that he's my brother.
How is that complicated?
I have no idea. Because if she had just said, it's my brother.
This is my wife. I've never referred to anybody.
And if this was your sister, you wouldn't think.
I wouldn't say this is my wife.
No. It makes no sense. I really think...
It's very incestual.
Yeah.
Now, that's... I would be bumped by that. I'd be, wrong number, bye, click.
Right. So what do you think the scenario is? I'll save what I think because I've had all week to think about it.
She's insane. That's what I think the scenario is.
Maybe.
And maybe it's a step-side siblings.
Okay.
That's what, they grew up like not as children, but maybe teens together.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Another thing also that I should mention, they have the same last name. So it's like John Smith and Jane Smith. So she's giving me their names, and she tells me, like, well, I'm Jane Smith, and he's John Smith. And I don't ask anything, and then she says, well, he's my brother. I call him my husband, but it's too complicated to explain that he's my brother.
I would have been explain away. I'm sorry. Now I have to know. You started this. No, finish it.
I know. And here's me going, oh, I don't want to know because she's going to tell me something really messed up that I don't need to know about because I'm just answering the phones at a movie theater.
Because that thought in my brain is now it's in there, and I'm going to start randomly punching myself in the face because I can't get it out. It's like, it's there. It's going to fester. It's going to, I'm like, I got to know. Now I really need to know. I gotta know.
Right.
What is wrong with you?
Here's what I think. I wonder if she never got married and they've lived together their total adult lives, and like maybe they both have a light dusting of mental illness, and so they like spend all of their time together. And they're older now, and so maybe like people assume that they're married because they live together and do things together and have the same last name. But they're really brother and sister. And so in order to avoid the social stigma of being an adult and living with your sibling and never having been married, maybe she just tells people that he's her husband. Isn't that messed up? up, though?
I would just be like, I just live with my brother.
I know. Why would you? Like, it makes no sense to me.
The complication is, like, that complicates it. That why you even have to even
right,
take
that
it.
you call him your brother.
I don't think I'm going to be right
or your husband.
anymore for the rest of the day.
Oh, I'm sorry for
That's all
disturbing
right.
you.
No, that's all right. That's where, because because I've never met this person, but just that statement alone, I think I would be bumped by it severely, and I'd have to know.
I know. Because then why even, if you're going to perpetuate this facade that he's your husband, why then tell me he's your brother on the phone?
But it's too complicated. You didn't even know. That question was never in my mind.
Exactly. I didn't ask her if they were married.
And there's no other backstory before this person at all. It's like one first time ever called.
Uh-huh.
This person's evil. That's what it is. It's an evil person. Because
I'm going to start telling people that I'm going to start using that on people just to mess with them. Be like, well, he's my uncle, but I call him my husband because...
It's too complicated.
I'm just going to start messing with people using this.
Just watch their eyes twitch. Just watch things break down in their brain.
Yeah, or maybe the complicatedness is that they are, like, having sex with each other, and he's the brother, but she is so... But then why tell me, a stranger?
Right, because that's the part in my head right there is, why do I even need to know that?
You don't.
I don't need to know that.
Mm-hmm. So this has been, what could this possibly mean? And I think our result is, this means that there are people out there who are so deeply disturbed.
They will throw your whole world out of balance.
Oh my goodness!
That's also, you could probably write a short story just on that.
Yeah.
Just on that little frame right there.
Totally.
And just that little segment of information, and run with it and make us a huge comedy.
Totally. Or like a very sad movie. One of the two of those. It's either really funny or really sad. But, I, of course, choose to look at sad things as hilarious, which is part of my disturbing nature of life. Or the way I enjoy most things, because I choose to think that things that otherwise, like, I'll tell people stories about my work all the time, and they're like, oh, that sounds horrible. And I'm like, no, it was really, really funny. Like, I found it to be hilarious. So, it's how I get through it, I guess. Because if I really, sat at home and thought, oh, this is really sad, I would never want to go to work ever again.
Well, you got to find the comedy in life everywhere.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm still bumped. I'm a little bumped by the statement. I'm sorry. I'm flustered, trying to get around it. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna switch gears and.
Oh yeah.
I did something this week that
and
that I would have never done in the past. Because how you see something, and I always try to plan things on the weekends because that's when I have my most free time. Mm-hmm. But which ends up not having any free time at all because I plan it on the weekends. Well.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, I got a Facebook a posting from the Crocodile, which is a bar up in.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Up in Belltown, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, and they were having the anniversary of Sailor Jerry rum celebration there.
I don't know what that is.
Sailor Jerry rum,
yeah.
spice rum.
Yeah.
It's really good. And
it is really good.
And it's named after the style of tattoo, Sailor Jerry tattoos.
Oh, okay.
But they were giving away. They're having a big party this last Wednesday night, and they were giving out free tattoos. And so I'm
Did you get a tattoo?
No, I didn't. I'll build up to that. So
okay.
I'm at work. I'm like, I'm gonna go up to the Crocodile, and then there's a guy that I used to work with. He just came back to work at our company, and I told him about it. He's like, yeah, let's go. And everybody else I talked to, and this is where I would have done before in the past. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, there's going to be a line. So I'm not even trying. That's right there, the defeatist attitude.
Yeah, I do that too.
Well, I start living my life. It's like the life of what if versus the life of what, oh well. So now had I not gone, I would have been, oh man, what if they would have been really cool tattoos?
Yeah.
Or what if what if? Well, we drove up there, parked, got in there. There was no line.
Really?
There was no line. Well,
Crazy.
but what they did was they cut it off at a certain number because free
to avoid.
Yeah,
crazy,
there was a from 5 to 11 6-hour window to do tattoos. That's a decent tattoo could take a couple hours.
Totally.
So they cut it off at 100 people. 100 people in 6 hours is a lot of tattooing.
Yeah, it is.
So we went up there, had a couple drinks, checked out the spot. Found out that's the place where Nirvana used to play and stuff back in the day. Belltown's a really cool area. Had a really nice time with a buddy.
There's a couple places up there that I really, really like.
There's one.
One of them's like a crappy sports bar. It's called Buckley's that I love. It's great. They have really cool people there and cheap beer.
Really?
And, it's just kind of like a great trivia night. It's really cool. And another one is Tavolata. They have a really good happy hour with amazing Italian food for really cheap.
Really?
If you go there for dinner, it's spendy, but the happy hour is amazing.
Right. That's exactly what a lot of people do because they live up there and it's like I make not bad money, but I don't make amazing money. I'm like, how do people live in these areas that are so cool and they don't look like they have a lot of money either, but they...
Well, but that's Seattle. Is you could be sitting next to the wealthiest guy in town and you'd never know it.
Yeah, he looks
because he looks like a hobo.
Yeah. Dressed, dread out hair.
Yeah, totally.
But I like that bar. It was a really cool bar. We sat not in the show
Music
side.
venue?
We were in the lounge.
Yeah.
And I love the old... different colored glass panes, and we're sitting there. I kept looking at them. Some were replaced, some were. They're really,
the last
really
time
old.
I was there, we went to see this band called Alt J, which is about to become one of the biggest bands on earth.
Right.
Because they just booked, I think it's a Nokia cell phone commercial, but they are a amazing band, and my friend really got into them. They're European. And I've been to 2 concerts of theirs now.
Really?
And they're the only 2 concerts I've been to in Seattle, but they were really good. They were playing at the Crocodile, and we went there and saw... That was the show I was telling you they started 4 hours late.
Oh.
It was miserable.
That's
but
almost...
we saw people dropping acid in the bathroom, and it was so funny. It was a total shitstorm of a night with really great music. But I was like, this is everything I hate about being out in public is just messy drunks.
Right.
People obviously on crazy drugs everywhere, and really late start time. It was supposed to be opening act at 8:30, and the opening act didn't go on until 11. It was ridiculous.
Right.
And
the opening act.
Yes.
Until 11. Wow, that
it
pushes it way past. You're
way bad.
Right. The last call is 2 a.m. You're probably past that now.
Oh, for sure. We went, we didn't get out of there until, probably close to 2. And it was on a Monday night, and I was and I don't work on Tuesdays, so for me it was fine, but I was this is why I'm an old fart that, needs to be in, a seat with, a little bit of order and some production to the show I'm at, because I seriously
you'd like
I
to
was
go up to
you'd
like shows at McCall Hall then.
Yeah, or Benaroya, or even the Moore.
Yeah, where you got your seat ticket and you got your seat number and you sit in the seat where you're signed.
I like that.
And you sit there.
Yeah. Totally, I prefer that, and the sound needs to be good, and I don't want people pouring drinks on my shoes. I'm I don't need this shit. I'm not 20. I'm a grown ass person.
Oh man, I still dig it.
I don't go to festivals anymore because fuck that.
Really,
festivals are miserable because the sound always sucks. I get super sunburnt. People are assholes.
Oh, going Pain in the Grass.
Yeah, or Lollapalooza.
Summer Jam.
Last time I went to Lollapalooza in the middle of the day, I was just everybody can go fuck themselves. I cannot stand this anymore.
Yeah.
I just wanted to run screaming from the place.
And you don't tan, you burn in the sun.
Oh yeah, I turn pink and grow freckles and
that's not a good time.
No, and everything about it just blows. It's all day just waiting in crowds and being bumped by people who are so blasted out of their mind, they're just like stepping on you, and you're just like, really? Like, I could be sitting in a chair somewhere.
Right.
You know, I could be comfortable in my own house watching a movie and be more happy than I am.
I have fun at both. I've seen. I've been to the McCall, and I saw the Australian Pink Floyd, Aussie Floyd.
Weird.
It
That's
was really
cool.
good. Oh man.
That sounds way fun.
Yeah, we went to a Thai restaurant, drank a bunch of beers, and then went in there. So we were all out of our heads, drunk. And,
right on.
But we went in there, and it was really cool.
Nice.
But at the same time, I like going down to WAMU Theater. And seeing, I went with my niece for her first concert. We saw Five Finger Death Punch and Korn and some other band called Droid, which they blew ass. Droid did not.
Oh, they blew ass in a bad way? I thought that was they blew ass.
No, or sucked ass. They were just bad. But that didn't matter. But I had fun at both. Because, it was my niece's first concert ever.
Yeah.
She was 14, and we went there. She lost both of her shoes. Because she wore shoes that didn't have laces in them.
Yeah.
You step as soon as a foot hits the back of the heel. Boop, her foot,
Totally.
And
so, did you ever get a tattoo?
No.
You just hung out.
We got out there.
The event.
Yeah, we went to the event. Well, no, we didn't even stay for the event because it was over. I'm like, well, if I want to get a tattoo, we'll just have a drink or two, and then because we had to work the next day.
Oh yeah, totally.
The only time if I was getting ink, I'd hang out. But,
for sure. I want to get a tattoo, but I'm probably never going to because I don't think I really want it. I just like the idea of it, of a T-Rex skeleton. Partially because I love dinosaurs and it's the only thing I've loved my entire life. And partially because I have short arms and my friends in college used to call me T-Rex. Yeah, as a way of being jerks, but I thought it was hilarious. And partially because Jurrasic Park is my all-time favorite movie.
I think you should get it.
And because it would be nerdy, because it's like a skeleton. Like, not a cool dinosaur, like a fossilized skeleton of a T-Rex.
Where would you get it at? On your forearm? Or?
That's the problem. I don't know. I don't think I really want a tattoo. But if I ever got a tattoo, I would get a dinosaur skeleton.
Being a social worker, you wouldn't be able to show it, or no?
Yeah, social workers don't care.
Oh, okay.
Social workers are genes and, if I was sitting, if I ever, open a private practice, I would just wear long sleeves,
Right on your forearm.
On my forearm?
Yeah, get one that's kind of like head here to tail there, or vice versa.
I just don't think I could pull that off. I don't think I'm cool enough.
When you get a tattoo, you'd be cool enough.
I think I'm so lame. I'm the most boring person. I spent my Saturday night watching Oz the Great and Powerful in my apartment eating asparagus.
Asparagus is amazing. We had asparagus Friday night.
So here's my problem, is that we've already talked for a whole hour and we didn't even get to Father's Day, and now we want to talk about asparagus for 10 minutes.
That's
which we should. But I'm just putting a pin in this of saying we always will have too much to talk about.
This is great. I'd rather have not enough time than too much air,
Well, we don't have to stop, but anyway, I just thought I would say that there's 4 more things on my little outline. So,
we can save them for next show.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, but no,
we can run maybe 5 minutes longer.
Yeah,
I think.
Totally. But yeah, I've been eating tons of asparagus and artichokes lately. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with artichokes.
Why is it that it's it takes at least 20 to 25 minutes for alcohol to enter your system to you feel a buzz, but you eat just a segment of asparagus and take a whiz, it's already made your pee smell bad. What is up with that?
I'm a superhero because I don't get asparagus pee.
Oh,
I actually thought, there's 2 things I don't get that apparently everyone else does. It's weird smelling pee when I eat asparagus and corn poops. And, I remember getting, back in the day, there was, one of the first internet memes was, all the different kinds of poops. And people were, forwarding it around. And it was, corn poops.
I'm glad I missed it. I really am.
I think poop humor is, the greatest thing ever.
I don't mind it. I just don't want to see it.
No, it was just, a list of names of poops. And one of them was corn poops. And then the explanation was self-explained. And I couldn't figure out what that meant. And then I was talking to someone, and they were like, well, when you eat corn, you just shit it out full, like it's undigested. And I was like, I have never experienced
It's
that.
reassembled. It doesn't, because I know I chew my food.
Can't
It's
totally
reassembled.
digest corn.
You can you're efficient then.
I guess, but I don't. Those are the two things that
But asparagus, I'll choke myself out just standing there. That's just the worst ever.
I don't have that experience at all.
And it doesn't matter how much asparagus I eat. And it's usually for at least 3 whizzes. At least 3 whizzes after. Yeah.
Not at all, man. I could eat asparagus morning, noon, and night and not have a problem at all.
I love it. I don't like it, but the last time we made it, or this last Friday, I overcooked it. I like it when it's crispy.
Me too, like a little bit burnt even.
Yeah, we grill. I usually marinate in olive oil and grill it. I don't boil it anymore.
No, that's kind of grody.
Yeah.
I even just throw it on a frying pan with some olive oil, balsamic vinegar, garlic. Yeah,
now I'm hungry.
That's the stuff. All right. Well, I guess we should sort of wrap up. I did want to say, for those of you who haven't noticed, which I think it would be impossible to, we record live at coffee shops. So you're going to hear a lot of background noise. We're going to start experimenting with some new microphones soon. And so hopefully, we'll get a good balance. If the sound bothers you, hang out, like stick in there because we're going to make it better. And but we like being out in the community, and I kind of think it's cool to have some ambiance going on.
Right, I do too.
So we're going to stick with that. We're going to get some new microphones soon. We're going to start having guests soon. We're going to incorporate some other people to maybe come in and do different segments, so you're not just hearing me and Scott, but a lot of it will just be us shooting the shit and giving you our, exciting outlooks on life and such exciting things as corn poops and asparagus.
At Jurrasic Park.
Oh my gosh. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on Jurrasic Park, and I will do my reenactment, which actually I did for one of my film classes for extra credit. My friends and I reenacted the road flare T-Rex scene in Jurrasic Park. Oh. And my friend Brandon played the T-Rex, which I thought was a little bit sad because I am the T-Rex. I have the short arms. I should have played the T-Rex. But it was very fun, and our teacher thought we were insane, which is always good.
Yeah. There's a little insanity in art, isn't there?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm willing to make an asshole out of myself at any time for no reward, just because it seems like it would be fun to me.
It's fun to do.
Oh, for sure.
One quick thing. Yeah. I revisited a song that I remember. It's not really a song. You remember the song "Wear Sunscreen"?
No.
The class. It was actually. I
don't think I know
somebody.
That song.
It was a. What do they call those? Speech for the class of '97. The commencement speech.
Oh, okay.
And they put it to music.
Huh. I graduated in '97.
So from high school.
Uh-huh.
That song was yours. Look it up. Everybody's free to wear sunscreen. Wear sunscreen. It's amazing, and it said, do.
I'll look it up. I've never heard it.
It fits. It still holds up, even though it's for '97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just smelled pizza. Did you smell pizza?
No.
I smelled something. It smelled good. Anyway, cool. I'll look it up for sure.
Really quick about our guest. What would you think would be a good you want to plan for the 5th or 6th episode, or you just want to wing it?
Sure. Yeah, I guess we'll wing it at this point. Let's talk to the people about coming on, and we'll just work them in when our schedules work out, I guess.
Cool.
Because I don't know what order we're going to post stuff in, because we've already got 2 episodes that are banked. So we'll figure it out.
The other ones we'll
put it in the episode titles.
Right. We can do archived episodes.
Yeah. Totally. I think that's great. So please find us on Facebook and Twitter. Our hash or our whatever. What do you call a Twitter thing? Our name at Coffee Shop Podcast, or you can send us an email at I don't know why I can't say this. From the Coffee Shop Podcast @gmail.com. And new episodes will be available every Tuesday. So this has been Peggy Hurson and Scott Clark, and thanks for listening. Huzzah!